Welcome back to AfricaCom TV here at AfricaCom and AfricaTech, the largest gathering, of course, of its kind. What a buzz, what an energy at this conference. One of the more important conversations to have is how we build safer cities, not only on the African continent, but certainly everywhere around the world. And joining me now is Juma Assiago. Juma is the head of Safer Cities program at the UN Habitat. Juma, lovely to have you at AfricaCom TV.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
What does the African safe city look like?
The Africa Safe City looks like one that is livable, that is cohesive, that draws on people as the drivers of change, that looks at the cultures, the different cultures of people, and uses that to advance the way values of citizenship are understood, and with that, how technology assists what people's lifestyles, behaviors, and circumstances are all about.
So how do we get to that city?
We get to that first by recognizing that it's the investment is in the people. And good or bad, with crime, violence, and insecurity in place, it is the coping and adaptation abilities of people that the answer lies towards safety in the city. So we need to start looking at both the prevention and response solutions from the perspective of how the people understand, integrate, use those technologies. So we're talking about developing cities for people rather than people for cities.
I like that. We are at a technology conference. How does technology become an essential tool then in developing those safer cities?
By first and foremost focusing on citizens' engagement. The challenge we face in Africa is that majority of the populations we have are actually languishing in urban poverty.
Yeah.
And with this has come the criminalization of poverty for many in the face of the rapid urbanization that's taking place. Technology has unfortunately not been as well used or utilized to serve the interest of that majority of the population that is considered urban poor, that are living in squalor settlements, that possibly do not even appear within the street map or the map of cities and towns. For that type of population, we need to understand ways of how we can engage with them, to have technology uplift their voices in how they co-create safety for all.
I'm going to drill down a bit more. How could technology then uplift the voices of the poor in urban areas who don't know where their food is going to come from tonight?
Yes, again, it's about social exclusion. The social exclusion is what drives the poor into that marginal thinking and frame. The more we bring them to the fore of what solutions cities could give towards ensuring safety and security is provided for all, the better we will be in terms of giving that sustainable future, that sustainable, safe future for all.
And what would be some of the threats, I suppose, that we would need to overcome, address, mitigate against in order for us to realize that safer city?
The biggest challenge of this all is the exclusion of the most vulnerable. Unfortunately, technology today is much about surveillance, and surveillance is so far considered to be one that has favored the rich versus the poor. What we need to consider are those technologies that aid, for example, location of spaces that are otherwise inaccessible in cities. The What Rewards, for example, is one of the innovations that has come out in this conference that shows how we can identify street addresses in spaces called slums or townships, which are not otherwise in the map and which emergency response service will never reach. That is one of the empowering ways. You may find other city tools like the safety pin, which uses mobile technology to get people to voice out their way of looking at a street and space from a safety feature, and that feeds that data into those in responsible positions in law enforcement or in local government to act.
And those solutions are going to come from this continent. They're going to come from AfricaCom.
Oh, yes.
What have been some of the more exciting bits that you've gone through and experienced today?
Yes, I think what I see in Africa is the innovation that emerges from the coping and adaptation abilities of the citizenry. What I've seen today in this forum is an amazing range of innovative, novel technologies that have their way of actually thinking about the citizen as the key actor or the key agent of change. I think the shift is beginning to happen. We begin to start seeing technology moving more to the acknowledgement that people need to be at the center of their innovation.
And that is absolutely exciting to hear. Thank you very much to Juma Assiago, Head of Safer Cities Program at UN Habitat. This is AfricaCom TV.